yoga for healing. What's up? Well wishes, good health, and high vibes for all of us. Let's see what's in the energy. What may be good to know. Fed up. Someone is overwhelmed with the amount of responsibilities and confirmations of trying to maintain balance, home life, finances, self-care, time to chill, trying to stay organized, but becoming overwhelmed, drowning. At times wearing a mask. You see the fake eye there? They don't want to talk. Offline is written on the paper by their mouth. They're offline unless maybe it's about money. I'm also seeing they need some sleep. They need to breathe. This is someone that needs some alone time. What is it that we need to know? Someone that may be married, that's feeling overwhelmed. Oh, maybe they're meeting some endings. Some finalities. Maybe an ending to this relationship, marriage, union. This collaboration. What is it that we need to know? Someone feels like they would be more happily single. They feel like they would have less stress and they would be able to set goals and maybe align themselves with someone on the same frequency, vibration, level. A connection where you still feel like you are yourself and free, carefree, carefree and fancy, what is it, foot fancy free? I don't know, something like that. Yeah, somebody's wanting to run from this trap they feel that they're in. They're having a hard time getting their words out too. But this is what they're feeling. Someone that feels confined. It doesn't necessarily have to be a relationship. It can be a job. Anything that's making you feel like, or this person feel like they're in a stuck position. And they're wanting to be free. Stress-free. They want to be allowed to grow. What else is it that we need to know? Drinking, toxic lifestyle. Wow. Is this someone that feels like they want to be free just to party? To be more toxic? Wow. Legal matters sideways. They're avoiding the legal matters. They can only think about maybe Someone else that they want to give an offer to? Someone that's in a union. What I'm picking up so far is somebody that wants to live freely. They don't want to take care of responsibilities. They feel like living the toxic lifestyle, they can ignore the responsibilities of the commitment they made when they told someone they loved them. They don't want to face the legal consequence. What about this person that wants to be single? Oh, wow. They don't want any strings. They don't want to be attached anymore. Someone that may have a sex addiction that's toxic and doing a lot of drinking, avoiding the real issues of the commitment they made. What about this toxic lifestyle? Who is living this toxic lifestyle? What do we need to know? Love message. What is this love message? Ooh. Somebody that's not a queen bee. They were living a toxic lifestyle, sending love messages to someone that's not a queen bee. While with someone that is aware of a heartbreak. Give me a card on this queen bee. Fake busy. Okay. What I'm picking up, and I was picking it up, I just didn't want to say anything, but this pretty much confirms the fake busy. This queen bee is not having anything to do. It's like they're separate. Or it could be someone they're married to that's out there doing their own thing, acting like there's no strings attached, living a toxic lifestyle. They may be blocked from this queen bee energy that's playing fake busy. Too busy to accept love messages for someone that's living a toxic lifestyle, that's married but living like they're single, like they're not attached. And they're feeling like shit. Trying not to pay attention to what needs to be paid attention to as far as their legal matters. What do we need to know about this? Legal matters? Oh, they're trying to cope. Yeah, they're trying to cope. Let me turn this down a little bit. Oh. So they're coping by drinking. Drinking, for sure. To avoid the reality that they're in. They're with someone that they really don't want to have the strings attached. They'd rather be single. They're with this person in a delusional, toxic life, pining for a queen bee that has them blocked. And they're coping with these legal matters by drinking, by who they gave the commitment to. Someone they thought maybe was a twin flame, or are they wanting to actually give or say something to a twin flame? Because they're realizing who they married this is different. This is a different kind of marriage. Give me a card on this marriage and happily single. Running. Running. Not wanting to be attached. Who is running? Are they both running? Oh, wow. Somebody's finding out that this marriage, it's like they want to go back and forth. The love spell wears off, and they don't want to have strings attached, and they get in their feelings. But this love spell makes them run off. So they got into this relationship because of spell work. And now they're drinking to cope. Because they're stuck in a lifestyle that's toxic. Wanting to send you a message, and it looks like this other person is aware. At least some of their side chicks are aware, because I'm seeing a few different situations here where they could be different couples, different scenarios that this person is dealing with, maybe even up to 4 partners that they're claiming to be single, but they don't have any strings attached, and they've put love spells on all these people to make them run off with them, but they're still stuck in their head on a queen bee that they cannot get to, that's keeping themselves busy. What are they thinking about in their memories? How to block some shocking news from coming out? How to block some memories of the past? Of how they were a thug and maybe they've been put in jail? Had dealings with the police? Living that thug life? Being a player warlock that does spell work, that cannot even take what they're doing because they have all these lovers living this toxic life, but they can't have what they really want. A boss bitch that's blowing them off. Rather be fake busy than to be bothered. And that's left them in massive regrets. Because they're trying to avoid these legal matters and they're trying to cope. But they're just getting bad news. What about this coping on this legal matters? What about this coping on the legal matters? Wow, mouthful. They're bumping heads. That's why they're having this legal matters of possible divorce of someone they thought was their twin flame. But it was just a reckless love and all about sex, and it's been love, hate, on, off, hot, cold, to the person that they devoted themselves to. And now they're all in their feelings. What about this I love you? What is this? Mm. They realize that it's not a divine feminine. The true divine feminine, or even this one that's not so divine, is turning their back on them. And they've run out of time. This is a player that made karmic ties with some lovers, maybe, that may be a little crazy. Because why is she rubbing that knife on her tongue? They're trying to avoid legal matters with someone that they're bumping heads with, that they thought was a twin flame, that end up to be reckless love, which is actually reckless sex that they called I'm in love. But it's actually hot and cold, a karmic tie. What about this time? What time did they run out of? Oh. To holding this secret of how they feel. Feeling like a jackass. Because they made a love child that they want to keep secret of what they've been doing. How they've created a whole family. But for some reason, they don't want this queen bee to know. Because they want to send her a love message, but it's too late. I believe this queen bee is aware, or soon will. Maybe she already is because she's playing fake busy. Or maybe just too busy for the fake. Leaving them in massive regret. But they're supposed to be happily in a union with the love child. Not feeling like a jackass keeping secrets. What are these massive regrets? Because that ended. That is a finality that cannot be brought back to life. It's not shocking for some how this person is reminiscing now, not wanting any strings attached, but they use those love spells to make these people run off with them, pretending to be happily single. That psychological warfare, along with some spiritual warfare and some hoodoo, now has them bumping heads. They're coping, but they can't avoid these legal matters. Oh, something to do with this pregnancy, this love child. Somebody can't avoid something, but they're bumping heads. Maybe they don't want to have a DNA, or maybe somebody found out it's not theirs. And they're feeling like shit because they were caught up in a love spell, convinced to marry someone that is not a divine feminine. Someone they should have turned their back to, but it's too late and they can't keep this a secret that they are a total jackass for falling for this love child of someone they thought was a twin flame, but it's actually someone reckless with their sexual energy and their love, ending in love-hate relationships. Off and on, hot and cold, causing a complete ending to the real queen bee that they were blocked from that they are using secret accounts to spy on. But they had a workplace affair. Is that where they made this love child? Sneaking around thinking that is so alluring and a turn on to be sneaky and conniving, to be a liar. But it looks like they met one that's just like them. That's why they're bumping heads and need this DNA, and both really trying to avoid that court situation because there's beans to be spilt both ways. But they are a good match because they're both reckless, unhealed, all into spell work, causing endings, being toxic of someone that is a true queen bee, settled for a workplace affair. This is a story about someone that has a situation that's ending in a catastrophe of legal matters and DNA tests, abuse of alcohol and sexual energy and spell work. They got themselves in a deep mess, while the divine feminine has avoided it. The queen bee, boss bitch, knew when to end it. Now being watched on secret accounts because someone wanted to keep secrets and made themselves a complete jackass. Peace.